Welcome to Inside the Firm, a podcast dedicated to small business owners and hosted by entrepreneurs, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko. Each week, they take you on their journey of how to start, run, and grow a business by bringing you inside their architecture and real estate development firm. Get a behind-the-scenes tour of how these business leaders manage their clients and foster company culture while creating new and innovative projects. And now your hosts, Alex Gore and Lance Cayko.
Welcome to another episode of Inside the Firm. I'm here with Lance, Luxury Division Cayko. I am Alex, Luxury Division Gore. We are twins in thought, mind, and spirit.
Amazing.
Today, bringing to you a good show about how to run a firm through simple meetings. But before we do that, you can't run a firm if you can't run Revit.
It's true.
So go to revitrocketship.com. Take a look at everything that we have to offer. Revit, model like it's built, teach your families, teaches you how to make a project, gives you F9's template that they use to be extremely quick, extremely responsible, so you get extreme rewards. revitrocketship.com.
Two more things that are going to help you run a super efficient firm. This one, both of them are free to check out. Go to arcat.com because it provides for you architects, engineers, spec writers, and contractors with the most comprehensive libraries of building product content and design, so you can access it quickly and efficiently. Even better, Arcat is free to use and requires no registration. So visit today and access the information you need now. It's totally free. They do not data mine. Check out arcat.com today. The other thing I want you to check out that helps us help bring this podcast to you is go to pellaluxury.com/the firm today. I just want you to type that in your web browser, click on the link, show that we're bringing traffic there. A world-class collection of brands brought together to provide window and door solutions to the building industry and beyond. Duratherm and Riley are the true pioneers of industry. They are doing what no one else has done, building and designing beyond the status quo. These brands do not push beyond the limits. They set them. Explore pellaluxury.com/the firm today.
Okay. So, Lance, I was thinking about what we do to run a firm and how would you teach someone else to run a firm? And I just wanted to kind of lay it out, get your response, and formalize kind of what we do and maybe some improvements. Where this comes from. Have you ever read this book, Traction, Get a Grip on Your Business by Gino?
I have not.
Lindsay Fox recommended it.
Okay.
But a lot of people, it's one of those books, it's not as good as, what's that one that Mark LePage always says? The Entrepreneur. Oh, man.
I'm so sorry.
He's going to kill me.
Yep, he's listening. He's screaming at the radio right now.
I'll get in a little bit. But anyways, one thing about Traction, one of the biggest things is you need a financial dashboard. Your financial metrics. That's just one of the main things, right? Also, another guy me and you like, you've heard of his stuff. We've talked about Marketing Made Simple. This is Business Made Simple, the same guy. And he basically says, hey, you need 5 meetings to run a firm. And he goes through it on one of his latest podcasts. It's titled that. You can find it. And then I combine those two thoughts with what F9 has been doing throughout the years. And I reformatted it kind of the way we already do it, right? So I'm going to break it down like this. First, there's daily meetings that we have. And the first one is not even a meeting. And I broke it into financial and operations. I do this. I'm pretty sure you do this, right? It's a 5-minute financial check. You go into Wells Fargo, the account. You look how much is in the business account. And then you check, like, are the expenses in line? Did anything come out that didn't come out or need to come out? A check this morning. Hey, where's payroll? Is payroll coming out? Should come out. Should have been deposited. Stuff like that. So that's like, I do that every morning.
Yeah.
You do too? Perfect.
Yep. I check bank accounts. I check QuickBooks every morning. Yep. Sometimes I check QuickBooks at night too, just to see where we're at.
Yep.
But yeah.
And then we have firm-wide our 5-minute morning lean meeting. I won't go too much into that because we went into it before, but basically a different person presents on 5 topics. What's their win? What process improvement they had, what a project review is,
problem they solved, what principle they use to solve it.
Yep, and that's it. Okay, so that's literally like your daily check-in as a leader to your firm, right? Okay, let's go to weekly. I check on Monday. Basically, it's a bill, like what's billed out or what can be billed out, right? And then check in with your direct reports, right? So this is either happening Monday with the people that I work with in this office, or Tuesday when the manager comes up on Tuesday to check in, right? Hey, are they booked out for 2 weeks, right? What's the project prioritization? Like, should one be moved ahead of the other? And then if they have any questions about a project review at that time. Obviously, you can have more of that, but like that's kind of like once a week, I check on those two main things, like what needs to be billed in and out, and then what are people's priorities and are they covered for 2 weeks, right? Monthly, right? We have a meeting with our social media managers, right?
Marketing, yep.
And we check in, what's the newsletter, social campaigns, self-made media, stuff like that. So that's like as leadership, or if you had just a marketing person, like it's a monthly meeting. And then I kind of check in at the end of the month / the beginning of the month, because they're the same time. Like, okay, what was our income, right? What was our total expenses? And then there's a something to know. I think you should know is like, what's your pay through and what's your pass through? So payroll is how much you're paying people, and pass through is like what's going out to other engineers or people you're working with, because you got to subtract that from your income essentially
to see the real income.
Yep, and then you'll know your profit, right? One thing that we don't have that we've kind of talked about is how in either QuickBooks or our Timely app, but probably QuickBooks, like if we get a job, can we put in, hey, this job is worth $50,000. This next job is worth $50,000. And our time somehow, I'm sure there's a way to do it. Like once we bill against it, it like automatically adjusts so we can see what's in our pipeline. Like what do we have $100,000 worth of work in our pipeline? Do we have $200,000? What do we need in our pipeline, to have that operations? And then also, how do we account for that? Like we'll have huge projects. You've had huge projects. I've had huge projects where, hey, it only got through site plan review and then it died because the city wanted to charge them $1 million for water. So maybe we only put in the first phase or two on large projects, so we don't. So it doesn't look like we have $250,000 worth of work when really we only have 100. And what's that? And then what's that right number? What should we have in the pipeline for how many people? We know how much we should have in reserve for how many people we have, but I don't know if we have that pipeline thing. We don't even have it figured out yet. But that was one thing from Gino's book that they had, and I go, we don't have that. Okay, yearly. So that's monthly. You look at that. Yearly, you have your financial, you have your tax submitting, which is normally around March, April. You have your meeting with your accountants and whoever is doing that. And then normally you'll have some sort of tax planning around October. Just like, hey, is everything lined up? Do we need to do anything? Blah, blah, blah. Operations, you have your employee review. Each year you have an employee review and either a raise or, a talking once a year. These maybe aren't meetings, but basically emails. But there's basically a health insurance review, right? I'm going to start setting up next summer because we have a whole bunch of different insurances. Hey, we know when we started filling out all these things, so probably a month before, like get with them and say, okay, where are we? Are these good? What do we need to do? Employee handbook review.
I think it should be in December.
December?
Yeah.
I like this.
Because that way we could have attorneys review it and then we start fresh January 1.
Yep.
Or, 2, you know what I'm saying? Like we don't work on New Year's, but yeah.
Yep.
I'll be fishing.
Yep.
Nice. Who knew?
Nice. Then a 401k / retirement benefit review, because those can change every year, just like the health insurance review. And then here's one that I don't think you need to act on, but I think every 3 years or 4 years, we kind of redo our website.
Al gets website bugs up his little butt.
Yeah.
And then he does them. And to be fair, the website is great. Like I literally got a compliment today on LinkedIn. Someone was listening to the show. Actually, they were listening to Enoch's show. Shout out to Enoch Sears for having me on Business of Architecture a month ago, 2 months ago. and somebody's like, hey, I just listened to you on Enoch. I'm going to subscribe to your Inside the Firm podcast. By the way, I checked out your website. It's great. You guys are doing awesome work.
Yeah. The website gives me so many contacts. There's 2 or 3 houses that we're going after that came in last week just from that website contact form. So like it's doing great.
Yeah.
But that's just like, hey, every year maybe look into it and then probably say, nope, it's still good.
And maybe
Nope.
every 3 years you're revamping.
Yep.
Maybe 3 to 5.
And maybe it's once a year, like you brought up too. It's like, hey, we have these other websites for these other companies. Does that need an SEO modification or update?
Aaron, if you're listening, how's it going on that SEO website for RevitRocketShip.com?
Yep. So you should literally kind of lay out, review it, see where it's at. And maybe it's just for the majority of the years is like just because you could put tracking in there. So
Yeah.
if you don't, you could put tracking in here. And then if you forget about it, next year you could look and say, okay, how did the tracking work? Do I need to adjust it or things like that? And then the last one that is kind of legally obligated is your board meeting, right? And there I think it's just basically, hey, what was the financials of that year? Do you have any big expansion plans or big initiatives? It's just kind of an overview of what's going on.
Big purchases.
And the main reason I bring this up is let's say you were going to sell in a year or 2 or 3 years. And let's say you were going to sell internally. Like, you should bring them to every one of these meetings.
Yeah.
You know?
Back to the whole projection on where you were saying about estimating, having some kind of pipeline and showing, here's how much billable work we have. This means we're projected out this far as revenue. Therefore, jobs are safe for 3-6 months, whatever. I actually think what it comes down to is estimates. I think what you have to do is you have to put in estimates in QuickBooks, and then I think you can tally up your billable work via estimates, and then you bill against the estimate. So and that's coming from the F14 side where we're doing general contracting. A lot of times I'm putting in estimates and I'm turning them into invoices. I feel like it's a little messy, but I'm thinking we use QuickBooks, so if people are screaming into their headphones right now, like, yeah, that's what you do, Lance. Well, then maybe, or that's not what you do, but I think that's where you got to go with it. I do like this idea. This feels like a really good idea that we should pursue it, and we should have a better we should have a better platform. We should have some platform that shows how to do it. You're looking up books.
Yeah, I'm trying to find that one. So
with Mark's that Mark was saying. Can you just Google Mark LePage and see if you spelled LePage wrong, but that's all right. Whatever book. Becoming an Entrepreneur? No, that's just a title.
I bet you though he has a resources page.
Yeah. Maybe. Shoot. I should text him. We're not texting him, but I should.
Yeah.
It's killing you, huh?
It's killing me.
All right.
Sorry. It's killing me. So, but what you were saying about QuickBooks, that's your first stab, and then we'll refine from there.
Yeah.
So you can make an estimate, right? So this is what you're saying. Let's say that's a contract for $50,000. You can make an estimate, and then like when I go to make my first down payment or whatever, I bill against that estimate.
You can turn the estimate into an invoice, and then it links to the estimate. And then what I'm saying is like, okay, then can you categorize? Can you go in and can you look up estimates in QuickBooks? And it shows like you have $250,000 worth of estimates. And then you can see, oh, look, we have $250,000 worth of billable work, billable money. And then from there, I don't know how you chart, then I guess we just say expenses versus maybe we have Penny come up with some like a projected expenses report, and we just cross-examine those reports, and then we know, hey, we have 3 months of work, 6 months, 12 months, whatever. I think that's probably how it goes.
Yep.
Did you find it?
Nope.
No?
Stop asking me. Okay. People are going to think that I found it. I haven't found it.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways, so that's it for that. We're gonna figure that out together. Because then, Lance, like the monthly one. Let me go back to this.
Yeah.
The monthly one,
Uh-huh.
where it's this. Like this could automatically be made into a report or a diagram in QuickBooks. And you could just, to look at it monthly, but any day you could look at it.
Exactly. That would be the ideal way. Is it's just at your fingertips at all times. It's all linked.
Yep.
It's working well. And then the only thing I don't like, so the fruit of what that would bear is I like, but I know what it would take to get it done, and that is, okay, now we have another duty as the folks who are doing this, all the sales, most of the sales. Hey, we got a new project. Okay. I signed it. I got it in the pipeline. I have other things. I have people scheduled to go out there and measure it, or start dates and meetings and all this stuff. And then it's okay. Now I gotta make an estimate in QuickBooks. It's just more work for us, but I like it. If it works out, then I'm okay with it. But it is more work.
Yep.
So
the other thing I thought about putting in there, but I didn't.
Yeah.
Is, hey, leader of ourselves or a new firm or someone that we're mentoring, you should have time blocked out or available to have blocked out. You should do everything immediate. Like if we had time, like we should look into this today. But if we don't because we have different obligations, it's Wednesday and it should be business improvement. Like, hey, on Wednesday, I know I can schedule business improvement. So I could look into, or you could look into how to make this estimate and stuff like that. And that's another, so in the weekly category is like, as a leadership, you should literally be taking half hour to 1 hour to 2 hours.
1 hour a week, minimum.
To execute these business improvement things.
Yeah.
Or else it'll just get lost.
Yeah. Yeah.
I might just write that in there, weekly.
Yeah. I like that.
Business improvement.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, I guess it's me next.
It's you again, Mr. Gore. You're running the show today. It's all good.
The next one, I saw this on Twitter, and I thought I would bring it up because it is timely.
Yeah.
Is rising interest rates?
Are rising, yep.
I think it was from the tweet. I took it directly. The best way to bring down home costs. So here is the tweet. Last year, a mortgage payment at 3% was $422 per 100K. Now it's $621 per 100K. Mortgage payments went up more in the last year than anything else.
Yes, they did.
Yep. Incomes needs to grow, rates need to come down, and or home prices have to drop. Personally, I think of those three things, home prices coming down is most likely. Also, judging from the past cycles, real estate takes the elevator up and the stairs down, unlike the stock market. So it might be some time before this correction. This is from Vidit at supermode_. What do you think of that?
I think he's right. I mean, the thing, Peter Schiff has been on this forever. Like, if the Fed is serious about actually tamping down inflation, like the basic math says, if inflation is 8%, interest rates need to be 8%. And actually, they're getting pretty close with housing. So, because like right now, I think the average interest rate is
above 6.
It's above 6. It's like upper 6. I'm going to go to bank rate, mortgage rate. I think it is close to like 7% right now. But so yeah, 6.83. There it is. That's what it's at right now. Pretty spendy, not cheap. Oh, sorry. It's the national average is 6.43 for a 30-year. It's the only way to tamp it down. I agree. But the other way, and then this will lead into my article that I'm going to talk about, is like you still need to increase the supply 100%, because now everybody's shifting from we're shifting from a buyer's market. We're shifting from a seller's market over to a buyer's market. But the problem with the buyer's market is then you have just like he said in tweet number 1, your mortgage payment was at 3% was $422 per 100K. Now it's $621. So it's increased. That's a lot of money for folks. So then what it leads to is, okay, we're gonna now rents are increasing because now we've turned these buyers who every time they get caught in this catch-22 of the higher interest rate, although then that leads to more supply in terms of just more existing homes being on the market. But the problem is they can't buy it because they can't afford it. So then they go back to renting again. So you get caught in this catch-22 every single time.
But it's also too. It's like, okay, if housing prices are too high. The Band-Aid solution is this, just make it artificially more expensive. But you aren't decreasing the demand. So unless you are increasing production by literally like loosening up regulations, opening up land, or just increasing production by
technology
and all this, what are you going to do? Like, I feel like there's this great big pond of demand and you have the stream and you're putting your finger over it. So what, are you never going to release your finger? You know what I mean? Like you're not, it's just this artificial. So once they take it off, our housing price is going to shoot back up again because there is a lack of housing and a need for housing. So I wish they would come up with some different solutions, meaning like, because right now that extra money is just going to the Fed, and the Fed is the Fed is the collection of big banks.
Yeah, that's all it is.
And with that money, they're either going
There's nothing federal about it.
Buy mortgages with it, or they might quantitative tighten, which literally means like delete money that they get because it's under a separate kind of system. So they can only use the tools that they have, but like this is bringing down inflation in the housing prices until you let your finger off of it because there's still this backlog of demand. Yeah. So like you're just kicking the can down the road a little bit.
Right. 100%. Yeah.
Unless, let's say they do this for 2 to 3 years, and let's say like this isn't going to happen. Let's say 10 house factories open up in 4 years and they're all made of robots and you can make with robots or 3D printers. And then when they take their finger out, they're like, yeah, we can make as many houses as you want. No big deal. Yeah. The only limiting factor is the planning department.
Every time. You know, I was going to skip that then, but now I'm going to bring it up.
Yes, I thought it was good.
So Forbes came out with an article because he mentioned robots, and it's called, boy, these advertisements are terrible. New venture brings the speed and precision of a car manufacturing to deliver more housing. So what it is basically folks are looking into learning from, the beautiful car manufacturers who have come up with excellent systems to do it, right? So quote, a car has a couple thousand components, much like a house, right? And the configuration mode is nearly endless, says Timo Hall, the expert in car manufacturing and CEO at KUKA Systems. Quote, there's a lot more complexity in the technology and options, along with tougher scale and tolerances. Housing is great and complex business because you are selling a family dwelling. Now we can use mass customization with modern technology and software. We have so that family dreams can be customized, high quality, and delivered on time. So basically, these 4 groups making up P4 started chatting in December 2021. The conversation had focused on automation, but quickly became centered on people. Curtis Flesher, the head of Effective House, the off-the-shelf product plan portion of the group of 4 companies, says, quote, it is one thing to open a plant, but to also create data and support the data is a challenge. You need to understand how to design, run, and supply information as well as create the products. That's the difficult part. So what they're recognizing the labor issues that are facing the country. The group believes that manufacturing housing will take the heavy lifting off of people and put it on machines, giving people a break to focus on more value-added responsibilities. While automation does save labor, it does in a rational way by reducing labor content, which also reduces the costs so that the end product is more affordable. The automation also provides a training ground for new people. So scrolling all the way down here, they've got a little, it won't let me, there it is.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah. So there, if you're watching on YouTube, I pulled up, they've got a graphic, pretty amazing graphic actually, automated modular housing construction. So they're talking about the demand on the left-hand side here, and they say, there is a shortage of affordable housing in all regions of Europe. Continental house building cannot meet the challenge here. And so they are proposing a way to, and it looks like they're doing like panelized systems or modular systems to get it done. So people understand that the issue, and I think they realize that it is going to be technology. I wish Elon would get in it because I feel like he would make probably the biggest moves. He's the modern day Henry Ford, and it just feels like that's where it would be. So back to the people, they say. Global housing is at a tipping point where innovation is desperately needed to drive more supply at a more affordable price. Right now, housing is not affordable. Murdoch said, just look at the need and quantity of the need. One plant is not going to make a dent, so we need to go bigger scale because it's a serious issue. We need to drive costs down and mass produce. Nothing would be better than to see automated modular manufacturing go up all over the country. It would be great to give back. I'm going to throw a wrench at this whole thing. What if the big developers get together?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to name names, but like the people who make most of the just
any
standard
Toll
homes,
Brothers, whatever, Richmond,
and they lobby the government and they say something about manufactured housing, and then they squash this. Like, that's always the issue. This cronyism.
Hey, can I kind of reduce our quality of life to something too simplistic, but I think it's true and point something out?
Sure.
Your quality of life, Lance, again, correct me if I'm wrong, is based on two factors, and it's not the two factors that most people might think of or that you might guess. Your quality of life is literally based on heavy machinery and factory robotics.
And one more thing.
What?
It's based on cheap energy.
Yes.
100%.
And
cheap, easily storable energy. Gee, I wonder what two sources are for that.
But can I tell you the significance of this? Everyone that's listening to this podcast, you are only doing it because of those three things.
Yeah.
Because of the products that you have are made by factory robots. The place that you live at are only there because of large equipment. The food is only there because of large equipment, because of the shipping, the semis, the everything that's out in the field. If you've ever built anything of any substance, the machines that come and break things or move dirts, like, it is a force multiplier of 1,000x.
Yeah.
And not only is that you can physically see that, if you look at the difference of quality of life between, let's just say, us in India and the rural places in India, they don't have those heavy machineries to do the work, and they don't have that cheap power. And if they had both of those things, they would literally 100,000x. And there are places in India that has it. Same thing in China. There are places that have it and places that don't. So I don't like it. Those two things are so important to your quality of life. And yet the thought, like the amount that you think about heavy equipment and robotics, is almost nothing, because I'm in these industries and we don't even think about it that much.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah. I don't think. Yeah.
You want to do this next time?
Yeah. We can do this next time. Sure. Yeah. So there you go. On the next episode that we'll talk about YIMBY in Colorado. There's so our governor will continue the conversation. We always talk about affordable housing anyway. But we do have a read.
Ooh, by who?
Marcus Aurelius.
Wow, I thought he was
and
dead.
He was the fifth. I resurrected him, Al.
Good.
He was the fifth good emperor of Rome. So here's Marcus Aurelius with Marcus Reads.
When you arise in the morning, think of what a precious privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love.
What a quality statement. What a quality read.
Yeah.
The voice
Pretty
and
Romany.
Yeah.
Pretty Romany.
The background music.
Yeah.
And all that.
Yeah, like one of the things he talks about. So I just read his book on Tuesday. It's meditations. If you get it on Audible, it's only 5.5 hours. You could read it on a car drive or whatever. It's really good. I'm trying to practice more Stoic things. And one of the things that Stoics do is they do daily affirmations, especially in the morning. Wake up, take that first breath, thank God that you are breathing, and just be grateful to even be there. And every new day is sort of a new day. It's like a new life. That's one of the coolest things about it, I think. The Stoicism philosophy is like every day is a life. Every single day is a life. And then you go to bed, and the ancient philosophers thought this, like you go to bed, you die. You wake up, you're born again. Every day's a new chance, sort of thing.
Awesome. Here we go with ARE Jeopardy.
Okay.
Question 1. What percent of allowable area of the exterior wall openings in sprinkler buildings is allowed in the fire separation distance of 0 to 3 feet? So how many openings, what percentage can you have on the exterior wall if you are within 0 to 3 feet of the fire separation distance? Is it A, 10%, B, 5%, C, 3%, D, 0%? A, D, D? It is D, 0%. Question 2. Same question. Oh. What is the next category? 3 to 5? Yep. Okay, what percentage of allowable exterior wall openings in a sprinkler building is allowed in the fire separation distance of 3 to 5 feet? Is it A, 15%, B, 5%, C, 3%, or D, 0%? What do we have? A, C, A, 15%.
Number 3, what is a fire sprinkler system that has pressurized air in the pipes called? Is it A, air system, B, dry pipe system, C, wet pipe system, D, chemical system? Number 3, what is a fire sprinkler system that has pressurized air in the pipes called? Is it A, air system, B, dry pipe system, C, wet pipe system, D, chemical system? We have A, B. What do you got, Baca? B. The correct answer is B. Or what do we got for score so far? 3? Nice. All right, Jason.
It's your first day.
Reeves. Number 4, what is a temperature change that we can feel called? Is it A, sensible heat, B, heat change, C, heat field change, D, non-sensible heat change? Very critical to know as an architect, I guess. We have A. Reeves, what do you got? B. A. Correct answer is A. Sensible heat.
All right. Do we want to do the last tiebreaker? Oh, sure. Yep. Tiebreaker, it's whoever answers correctly first, and then if you answer first and get it wrong, that he gets a chance.
Let's go.
Alrighty. Colorado's statute of repose for construction defect claims prohibits claims from being filed how many years after substantial project completion?
Huh.
Good guess? You got a guess? 5. Good guess?
He's thinking.
He said 5.
He said 5.
Less
so
good
that was
guess?
Good. Baca? Not
Nope.
a good guess.
There it is.
Yay!
6 years.
That's what I was waiting for. I was like, it's so obvious.
TBD. TBD.
TBD, if you're
Which
listening,
means
sponsor this show.
TGI Fridays if you don't pick.
Jackson style.
Lance.
If you like this episode, leave us a positive comment on the YouTube, like, subscribe. If you're listening on iTunes, leave us a 5-star review. We'll see you next week.